Okay, and we're back. Different clothes. If you're joining us for the first time, I am Ralph the coach. I'm a certified life coach.
And I am Candy with Candy Conversations. I like moderating conversation about
Yes.
relationships, career, mental health.
Mhm.
And with that, I will let Ralph, the coach, take over.
So this time, normally, we take questions from Candace because this is what Candace does. She has all the questions. Like she said, this is what she does for her business. But I came across what do you want to call I don't want to call him an influencer, a
Okay.
content creator. A content creator. He's very insightful, very insightful. He talks about you might have seen him on IG, TikTok, whatever. But he talks about Black relationships. So he's catering to the African American community.
Mhm.
And so he posed the topic of performance of healing versus the reality of
So
pain.
there's this interesting dichotomy, which is the performance of healing versus the reality of pain. So we live in an era where healing has a look, a language, a brand. You light the candle, you journal, you quote bell hooks on Instagram, you go to therapy, you write boundaries in all caps, you stage your apartment after texting your ex. But are you better or are you just fluent? Because healing kind of has become a stage play. We know how to talk about trauma, we know how to name its triggers, we know how to say I'm protecting my peace, even when we really mean I'm not okay, but I don't feel safe enough to say that out loud. The performance of healing is tidy, the reality of pain is messy. You see what I mean? The real pain is inconvenient. Right? All real pain is inconvenient. It doesn't post well. It doesn't respect your aesthetic. It shows up after the meditation app closes and it waits till you're alone. It whispers, they think you're okay, are you? Right? Real healing is not clean. And that's one of the things that I feel like is important for us to really be honest about, because it breaks you open in front of people you swore they would never even see you that raw, right? It makes you ugly cry in places you thought that you had outgrown. It brings you back to a part of you that you buried because being loved meant being silent. It doesn't trend, it doesn't brand, and it doesn't always end in a TED talk. Sometimes the realest healing looks like sitting in silence without trying to explain yourself, saying I don't forgive them, not yet. Right? That's okay, right? That's the messiness I mean. Letting your friends see you when that mask slips, and calling your mom when you have nothing to say, and naming the thing without needing to intellectualize it. Going back to therapy not for insight, but just for maintenance. The real thing is that we've learned how to look healed, right? We really have. But now we need to learn how to actually feel safe, because those are not the same thing.
Mm.
And I thought this was really good because I do think a lot of it is performance,
Mhm.
unfortunately, because of social media. And we talked
Right.
about the benefits and um the not so good things of social media. And
Mhm.
I also feel like the content and maybe some influencers and content creators have made it to a point where some people may feel that it is exclusivity to healing. So I want to be in the club,
Mm.
and so to be in the club, I need to look like I'm
Right.
the part. I need to start wearing the head wrap. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? I need to start wearing sandals for some minute. I didn't even
Girl, it's okay. It's okay. Yeah, I just did what you would have done.
or some guys wearing the linen pants and going barefoot and
Right.
burning my sage and going to retreats and
Hmm.
speaking the language.
Hmm.
And because he was saying, oh, and let me mention his name. His name is Justin Scott. I want to give him his credit. And it's the whole look. And for me, in the language, you know the terms,
Right.
you say the terms, and quote unquote maybe read the books and things like that. But to me, it's like, in simple terms, are you um comprehending
Right.
what is really happening here. Like, are you actually understanding, feeling, going through the motions? Because like I said, healing is not pretty.
No, I was
It
thinking that as soon as you started, I was like, y'all just go back and look at some previous videos. You'll
it is
see.
the ugly cry. It is, as my client said last week, she said, I am so tired of talking to you. You got me on here snotting. I said, it is that. It
Yeah.
is being defensive. It is no. And I'm just going to use her as an example because, I'm not telling her business, but I'm just using an example. What mostly all my clients, like, I know when someone, like for her, and because she's phenomenal right now. And I just have to use her because my other two are new. So she is going to fight me. And I think about myself, like when I'm in the gym and I had a trainer and I'm going to cuss you, but I'm going to still do it.
Right.
Like, why you got me doing this shit? Okay.
Right.
And she's like that. She's like, no, Ralph. And I mean, we be going, no, Ralph, you gonna do this. And I'd be like, girl, yeah, yeah. This is what it is.
Yeah.
And then she processed the information and then she comes back and she's like, Ralph, like that was hard for me to deal with, but she moves forward. She's like, I don't want to be like this, so I gotta tackle it, right?
Right.
She's not like, there's no one way to meditate. And we talked about, you know what I'm saying? Like for me, you know what I'm saying? I go automatic into meditation, awareness, reflection, music on, you know what I'm saying? Or sometimes again, on my walks, I got a podcast.
Yeah.
I done tune all of that out. And I'm, you know what I'm saying? I'm reflecting, I'm getting downloads. But for some, because you're not really in it, you're not really sitting with yourself and being, oh shit, do I show up like this? Or oh my God, I want to change this in my life, but I know it's going to cause me to have to cut this away and stop hanging out with these people and stop using these drugs and stop drinking. You know what I'm saying? If I'm saying I want to be this person,
right? Oh, you talk.
What do I have to do? And it's like, instead of me doing all the hard work, why don't I just look like I'm doing? Let me just light these candles. Let me say I go ahead and journal. And I also, just before I let you go, I also feel it is not just in the healing space.
Right.
Because, I like to go ahead and tap dance. It's also in the religious space as well, where I'm going to memorize these scriptures. I
know about 4.
Girl, I know them, but if you gonna try to get me to say, yeah, John 3:16, no.
Nah.
I'm gonna just tell you, I'm gonna go ahead and give you the cliff note of the scripture because, honey, after I'm being in Catholic school, busy all my life, I know it, honey, front and back.
Look, I'm that one where you started, I'd be like, oh yeah, and I can finish it.
Yes. But because I've always landed on the devil know the word too, so it never impressed me for somebody to be like, oh yeah, Mark this and I don't, girl, that don't impress me. How was your walk? And then again, how was your walk with healing? How was your healing journey actually going, or are you just performance? Because again, with a lot of, and I'm just using this as an example because I was talking about this. Church people are performance. Going to church, paying tithes, singing in the choir, being on the board, that is performance. That is a ritual, just in case y'all want to know, that is a ritual that you do. And you don't actually have a relationship with God. You only talk to God when you need to, and then you use it as a wish, because half of y'all don't even pray right. Because again, here's another scripture: prayer without works is what? Dead. So a lot of the times you get people who don't want to go to therapy, who don't want to go to the doctor, who don't want to do the hard work of growth, elevation, being better. They say, just pray about it. It's not a wish.
Notes. I'm ready whenever you.
So healing is not a wish. Healing is not something that I personally, as something that someone who works in the field, it doesn't just happen overnight, and it doesn't happen when you put on the aesthetics. It happens when you in the trenches, when you feel alone, when it's dark, when nobody understands what you're going through and you can't explain it. You just know you tired. You don't want to do it no more. You crying, you snotting, you fighting. You doing all the ugly stuff, and then you come out a shiny new penny. Now you go.
I got all the notes here. You ready?
Yeah, I'm here. Go.
Okay. So the whole you started it with performance of healing versus the reality of pain, correct? Okay. So all my thoughts as I was listening and did kind of thinking about that title. Let me move it over here so I'm not looking to the side. To me, the healing is like that aha moment. When you've gone through the things, you've gone through the experiences, the ugly part, the pain, and then one day you just like, wait a minute, I don't feel this anymore, and I don't feel that anymore. And that looks different for everyone to kind of support what you're saying. Like people are going to find the look of it, but it looks different for everyone. I can speak to myself, for myself personally. One of my biggest things that have caused me to be hurt is I put others before myself. So my healing moments are when I'm realizing I'm doing something just for me and I don't, no explanation. No, that's another thing for me in the healing. Like I'm just doing it and I don't owe anybody an explanation. Or this is what I want and I don't care who says what about it. And like I genuinely feel that. Like if you got to think about, well, who might, then you ain't really all the way there yet. And you're talking about a person who has gone through this. So I'm not just I'm talking from my personal experience. That to say that looks different for everybody because somebody else may be healing from something else that has caused them hurt. So I can't go like now I can resonate with what people are saying on the healing journey, but again, that's going to look different. Then that whole performance of healing versus the reality of pain made me think of process versus product. People want the product. That's the healed version of yourself without going through the process, like you're saying. Like the process is ugly. The process a lot of times is a lonely space. Like you start out and again, you start out feeling a little lonely because nobody gets it, right? And you just want someone to see you. That's a little drop in the bucket reminder of something I got in my shana. But you just want somebody to see you. And when you feel unseen, that's a lonely space. People always associate loneliness with like, I don't got no significant other. No, loneliness comes with healing too. But you can that transition from feeling lonely to knowing that you are alone, but it's okay because this is your journey. That's an indication of healing as well. So often I'm like, oh, it's just me and whatnot. And when you experience peace for the first time, of course, you'll always be able to recognize it. But then every time you get those little moments of peace in your day, in your week, even after you've had a crazy day, it then brings in, for me personally, this feeling of gratitude. Like I'm gracious. I'm thankful that I have peace, even if it's for 10 minutes in a day. Because there's some people, if we're being real, and I know you know this, Ralph, just from your experiences and what you do, there's some people who never really experience peace. And sometimes it's self-inflicted because the mind is doing all the things. I was one of those people too. I am not going to sit here and lie. So there's no dish. And you mentioned, like you brought up religion, and I'm a person who I went to one of my dearest friends. I went to see him become a bishop. It was a whole ritual, and I was like really excited because I had never experienced that before. And he and I, like, we have a lot of conversations just about like what's going on in our life and healing, and we can have the hard conversations because he's not oblivious to the fact that people are still people. That being said, he and I were talking about relationship with God, and I was telling him how I pray, and he was like, "That's how you're supposed to do it." And like, what made me think of it is, I pray so much I don't even know I'm praying because it's a conversation. It's my relationship. Like I have true relationship. And there was a bishop at my friend's service who mentioned how if someone is forcing you to do something, they say, well, God told me to tell you to this. He's like, that's an indication that something is wrong because God can speak to you himself. So like, he's like, if you can only live your life based on what everybody else is telling you, you need to self-reflect is what this bishop said. And I was like, yo, and it touched me because I'm like, I know, and I've shared this with you, a lot of times for me, the conversations with people, the experiences are confirmations of the downloads I've already received. So it's not like I'm not getting it from someone else. I'm just getting that confirmation of like, yeah, I said this, and this person is here to tell you, listen. And just with the walk, the religion and the relationship, I think there are a lot of people sometimes who have relationship because of what they do. They just don't have the language to associate it sometimes, or they're doing things that are really what Christianity and religion say we should do. They're doing those things sometimes just because of who they are. They just don't associate it with religion. And I've met a few people like that sometimes who, like, maybe they have no church backing. Yeah, what's up?
You have to explain further for me. I'm sorry.
So, like, I met someone one time, no, the someone I know personally who was just sharing. Now, this person said they're an atheist, right?
Okay.
But they were explaining things that they do for people, things that they want to do, not to get anything in return. They're just like, I like doing these things and I like doing those things, right? And I said, but the funny thing is they were kind of bashing Christianity. And I said, well, do you know that a lot of what you're saying is what the true expectation is? It's like,
Oh, service and you know what you talk.
right,
Okay,
serving
got you.
others, helping those who people normally would not help.
Yeah,
Because if we really want to get nitty gritty and go to those acts of service,
yeah,
they were always people that were shunned,
yeah.
that nobody wanted anything to do with. So it's like the person was explaining that that's what they do. And I said, you know, I hear you and I'm not arguing what your beliefs are, but I just want to say you're doing a lot of what the masses should do. Now, do they do that? No, I'm not gonna say they always do. But
No.
you are doing things that we all should be doing if we're following that lead.
Right.
So I say that because I think there are some people out here who, thankfully, they still act in a certain way. And last thing, and I'm gonna hush. I'm gonna hush. Healing is a constant.
Yeah, yes.
Like,
No destination.
no,
Mm-mm.
no. There's no that there are things that our dear friend Tiffany, like, there are days it's been we've been out of high school for 25 years. So it's been
You have.
child, her too. But it's been 26 years, well, going on 26 years now since we lost her.
Mm-hmm.
And I still have moments where I'm like, I miss her like crazy, and it
Yeah.
brings me to tears. Just as, it's going on it, which is wild. It's going on a year now with my dad, and God knows I'm just like missing him like crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're only a few months away from it being a year, but which
Yeah.
is wild. But then there are other things in between as well that, so I say that because give your this is something that in therapy, in my home girl here coaching me, uh, give yourself grace.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Grace, and that's one of the hardest things for us to do. Seriously, especially if you've never had the experience of it from anybody else, it's hard to give yourself that sometimes. But once you do, like, life happens. I had a shift, and this is for real, the last thing. I had a shift recently where I just felt like I was like struggling to do everything. And I wanted everything to look and be a certain way. And I just had to start telling myself, you know what? God loves me anyway. No matter how it looks, no matter what I'm doing, if I succeed, if I don't, if no one on the face of this earth loves me, and I know that's not true, God loves me anyway. And sometimes, like, God's love for me turns into self-love. Like, they should be linked. I like, the more I think about how that's a truly unconditional, and how do I know that? Because there are things beyond my control that I
Yeah.
can list over and over different times in my life that nobody in human form could have made them happen.
Right.
So that's my testimony. It looks different for everyone, but to know that I have that unconditional helps me to be more unconditionally loving of myself and give myself grace. And then we're supposed to be keeping these shorter, and I'm going to stop now.
I just
Stop.
want to piggyback and give just like a little tip. You can use it or not. just to help in the giving yourself grace, because sometimes we don't even know how to acknowledge the things that we're actually like kicking ass with.
Yeah.
And then also too, if y'all can, I don't know if you can hear that or not, I'm sorry. They doing the yard work. What was that thing? If you also, if you're also someone who like doesn't pause after completion. And I feel like it's a lot of us in the Black community, like we accomplish one thing and then we on to the next without even acknowledging like, I did that, you know? And so it was passed down to me. I pass it down to my clients and I'm gonna pass it down to y'all. I don't know if I've said it on here before. I know I've said it to you, but to do a wind jar or a wind wall. And anytime you do something, you take yourself like a little sticky and you can fold it up. And then I got another one for myself. I haven't decorated yet. I want to decorate. And you put it in here. And so at the end of the year or after 6 months or every quarter, you pull it out and you look at all of the things that you've accomplished through that time, because you will forget.
Yeah.
You will forget. And or if you do a wall, stick them on your wall or get a poster board and stick them up there. And so you can see all the things you're doing. Because like for me, when I first started my business, I was, I'm saying I'm still doing everything, but I did everything from ground up. I built my own website and I was just moving on. And so when I got a coach to help me through the back end and getting everything together, I had to really look. I was like, I have never done any of these things before. Like, I know I'm tech savvy and stuff, but I've never had a purpose, a reason to build a website, to learn a new CRM system. I'm implementing tools and all kind of things. And I'm just like, wow, because I had to write these things down because again, I'm not even looking at it. So if you're doing your daily, like today, I'm saying, I got to the gym, I didn't complain, I got into work, write it down, put it in there. You know what I'm saying? Because you're proud of yourself. You know what I'm saying? I was able to finish my allotted amount of water today. Boom. I had a moment where I could have cussed somebody out and I didn't do it. I had a moment where I could have cussed somebody else and normally I don't do it and I did it today. I set a boundary with my boss today. I set a boundary with my mom today. Put all them stuff in there. And because to me, again, you are like, that's like somebody saying, hey, we have a meeting. This is our end of the year, review. And you lay out all of those stickies on that table and you might start crying.
Yeah.
Like I did all of this.
Remember how I said it's a confirmation, so I gotta share something with you because I did something. You just laid out exactly, but go ahead.
No, but that was it. Just and you can start it anytime. I think that's another thing too, especially with healing. People feel like they're late. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
And
Just,
again, please start. But again, everybody doesn't do everything because we will all be the same. So there are some people who are going to die and never heal from whatever has been holding them back at 9. And that's their journey. Me and my ex, we were just talking this morning, and he was showing me a video that he came across on IG, and the young lady was just talking about the same thing, like it is okay, and we don't want to crucify, we don't want to bash people who don't start or even finish, because sometimes you get to a point in your journey, you be like, man, I can't do no more. I can't do no more. And then some people like, I don't want to do no more, but I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
And you have to realize if you ended up in a friendship, in a relationship, and sometimes it's your parent, and you ended up in this situation with them, you have to figure out whether is this I need to pull back.
Yeah.
Whether this I need to let go. You know what I'm saying? But again, it's nothing personal. But again, this is about you putting you first, and how, because it's going to impact you when you have and we talk about this, you're elevating so high, and this person either says, I'm not going to do it, or
Mm-hmm.
I'm stopping at this floor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And as I'm gonna use that she has how she did it, she said, you're like, come on, come on.
Right.
It's great up here on the 27th floor.
Right.
I can see
Mm-hmm.
the views. I can see,
Mm-hmm.
and they're like, I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I
Mm-hmm.
don't like heights. Whatever the situation is,
Mm-hmm.
eventually you're going to have to say for you to get to that 28th floor,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I
or
still love you, but love you,
and
bye.
still love them, and still,
Love you,
and that's
bye.
yeah. Or you just have to limit how you interact
Yeah.
with them.
Yep.
There's going to have to be a change.
Yep.
You can't attempt, and that's what a lot of people do. They attempt to try to keep that same relationship, and that's another conversation he was saying of loyalty.
And now you gotta make me share it. I skipped. It wasn't for me. It was for a friend.
No, we're not
And
going to share it. We're not going to share.
no, not details, but I was
Oh,
talk about how this person confided in me the need to cut some substances out of their lives,
oh,
right?
pause for a minute. Pause.
Go ahead.
I thought you were saying this was the question that we were
No,
going
no,
to.
no. Oh, no, no,
Okay,
no.
so no. So
I'm
yeah, I
saving
take it
that.
back. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I'm saving that. But wait, did you want to say something else?
No.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead where you were.
So the friend shared with me, I spent some time with them a couple months ago and then again recently, and they shared with me the desire to want to remove some substances, abuse really, from their life. And this came to me last week, wasn't around the person during that time, but my download was I know that this person, I did have checked in, like I said I would, just say, hey, just checking on you. And I need to check on that person again. But the realization that this person is still engaging in spending time with those who don't support her desire to change.
Ooh, okay.
But it's like the person also doesn't spend a lot of time with people. So when there are people around,
Is those
she
people
just,
who are,
you know what I'm saying?
yeah.
Kind of out of like habit, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
kind of what you were just saying, when you want to, you gotta break ties sometimes. And I'm like, I, I'm thinking about how to share. Like, doesn't mean that you have to cut them off entirely forever in a day, but maybe right now until you can get some things under control, and maybe you can revisit it later. But if you have people around you influencing you to do the things that you don't want to do, I mean, I don't want to tell you what to do, but that's hard for you to like really hit those goals if and I like they know that they're not in a space now where they can say, nope, I'm not interested. You can get in that space and then maybe go back around them if you desire. Like that's gonna look different for everyone. But like that just came to me like, the person really wants to do better and all of that. But it's like you really need to take a look at your environment now.
Well,
And I don't know.
I'll say two things. This is so, as I explained to my clients, when you are elevating,
Mm-hmm.
you're going to get tested. And some people say it's the
Mm.
devil. I say it's God trying to determine, are you sure you are committed to this thing? Right? You're just going to get tested. That's an everything.
Right.
When we're in school and we're learning new material, then the teacher's like, okay, let's do a quiz. And then from the quiz, you learn more material. And guess what? Now you got a test.
Right.
And life is like that sometimes. People say, I feel like I'm being tested. Maybe you are.
Right.
Because now you've learned the material.
Right. Right.
Now it's time to execute and apply. Right. So
like
to me, for your friend, this is execution and apply. You've learned, you've gotten to a space of like, okay, I'm rocking with this. I don't want to do this more. But at what cost? You're fine with learning the material.
Right.
But are you okay with executing what you've learned? Right?
Good.
And I was going to say too,
that's rich.
I was going to say too, not all the time. I'm going to say most of the time. 97% of the time. Okay. You're not going back. And I'm saying
I know that. But
as a friend, you needed to be Because once you've
That's hard for people to hear sometimes, though. That's why I was like, maybe you can revisit it later.
but
Because if I say you're not going back,
I'm
yeah.
gonna tell you a better way for you to be a better steward,
Mm-hmm.
because also you were tested, and I know you've heard me say this before, and I'm trying to get more people, the more I talk to more people, to understand how we sometimes dim ourselves, our light, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
and not intentionally. We don't do it intentionally, right?
Okay, pause. Wait, I gotta tell her, y'all. Let me tell y'all. So I started stalking her, right, when we reconnected because of her like page on Instagram, and the reason she just said Mark, and she ain't gonna forget, but I had to stop because like what really bought me, she said I was drained. I was like, I'm tired of attracting all these people, all these trash people. She said, well, it's like Mark is always going to be attracted to the light no matter what, and I was like,
Yeah.
let me go back and stalk some more. So yeah, I had to. So she said
that has got to you. So when I said light, you was like,
yeah,
I remember. But I want people to be their authentic selves so then they can steward like how they need to for God, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I know, I don't know if some people are going to combat what I'm saying, but it was placed on my heart. So I'm saying it. I'm going to keep preaching it. There is no making me come out of character. There
Mm-hmm.
is no, that if it's in you, that's
Mm-hmm.
yours.
I
That's
get what
yours.
you're saying.
That's
I
you.
get you.
You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
for you to be like, you done made me cuss you out, I came out of character. No, cut you words.
No, you just made me cuss you.
Nobody was whispering in your ear, say mother. No, and no one was doing that.
You needed this cuss.
Right?
Sorry.
But and I think I've said on here, that intimacy, that vulnerability, that conversation was supposed to be had with you,
Mm-hmm.
because God, the universe, whoever you believe in, knew that Candace had to tell her the way that she was going to receive it. But the way we may miss the steward is when we feel like we need to, dim ourselves to give the message.
Mm-hmm.
Let me sugarcoat it, because now we use that brain. Now we use that brain, right?
Right.
And now we trying to imagine how the person will feel.
Right.
We got gone too far.
Yeah.
I just said, because I knew Candace would have been like, well, you may not be able to go back, because at the end of the day, because whatever the vibration, the tone, and how Candace delivers, it's going to resonate.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
When people come to me, it's because they need the way Ralph is going to deliver it. It's honestly, because you know what I'm saying?
No.
It's coming to me because I done sent this person. I done sent this person. Now I'm gonna give you Ralph. Here you go.
Hey, tighten your bootstraps.
You're ready. Okay. And then after me, if God got to handle you, that shit. Hey.
Look, hey, I did my part.
I did my part. So all I'm saying, when
just tell it like it is, basically.
But just tell, because again, it's always going to be received by you, because it was sent to you. They were
got it.
Go to Candace, go.
So just give it the way it came.
Take your mind out of trying to control how the situation, what is going to be perceived. Just give it to them.
Right.
If it was placed on you to cuss them out, Ralph could have cussed them out till Sunday. It was not going to resonate. But if Candace cussed them out,
right. Right. I get that. That makes sense. That's good.
So when something is brought to you and you feel like, dang, I feel like I need to say something, that's God saying, yeah, I'm sending them to you.
But
say it.
And you know this about me. That's also forcing me to still work on my healing in certain areas. Just speaking up, because
I was just about to say, yes, yes.
Just because it shifted from me speaking up for myself to now getting little trickles of, there you go. You need to deliver this to others.
These are your tests.
And I told God, and y'all don't think I'm crazy, but I done told him I ain't need no more tests right now.
And you're like, no, when you
give me my report card.
Because you got to remember, and I think we all need to start writing it down when we in those moments of, oh God, please, just if you do this,
Give me a break. That's how I pray, y'all. I ain't
But
lying.
no, I do too. I do too. I'd be like, look now,
Yeah.
I need a break. I didn't say stop. I need a break. Okay,
Right,
give me
right.
a minute now. Okay, you running out. But when we in those moments of desperation and crying
Yeah.
and begging and God, please, please, and
Mhm.
I always say, I wish I never ask for patience. Never.
Girl.
Because you start getting the experiences, the tests, and you just like, I don't want it no more. Too late. We're already here. You're already in a university.
And then when you think you patient already and you realize you ain't,
And then the thing is
I
too,
had a lot of that lately.
that's why elders say be careful what you ask for, because just so happened, and I was recently in Thailand, right? And I went on a date.
Yeah.
We can talk about this later because it's a one and done. I'm good at that. Um,
Oh,
I know I had a great time. I had a great time, but again, alignment, all that.
right, right.
No,
I've been meaning to ask about that, but okay.
but I can
Okay.
repeat. But one of the questions that he asked me about, how do you know um if you were like wife material or whatever, right?
Mm.
And I spoke for me, but I was saying women in general. And he knows I've been married before. And
Mhm.
I knew I was a wife before even being married the first time.
Mm.
Um, but we have to be careful what we ask for. And I say that with dating, because this is a relationship podcast, in marriage, sometimes again the aesthetics of a thing is what draws us to the thing that we want, and we don't do any research. We don't
Mhm.
do any deep diving into, is this something I really want? And that's
Right.
why a lot of people do need to be by themselves to
Mhm.
figure out themselves first, so then you can know what you want and desires, so then
Right.
you can have your list of what I need in a partner, because
Mhm.
also what I need in a partner, they're going to pour into me to help me elevate to get my wants and desires, right? So
You
I was
making me
saying,
add something to my therapy list.
okay.
Keep
So
going.
I was saying that, like, I can't speak for men, but for women, sometimes we see that high-powered woman and that high-powered man, and I'm gonna use Beyonce and Jay-Z as an example. And I said, you want that. They have the kids, they have the money, they have the trips, they have the success, right? But what you don't see is all the things that are given up and sacrificed to have the lifestyle. And that's why we need
Right.
to do more research into, do I want to also be CEO with my CEO husband
Right.
running his business? I'm running my business. We got multiple business, because what you don't really look at is you have a chef. Y'all don't
Mhm.
sit down as a family and eat. That
Right.
grandma or a nanny or somebody else is taking care of those children. You are sacrificing the time that you didn't raise your kids.
Right.
Somebody else did. You didn't do the drop off to school.
Right.
Somebody else did. But you have to be okay and say, I'm willing to sacrifice that to provide this, because this is
Right.
really what I want.
Mhm.
And a
Mhm.
lot of people don't do that. And then they get to these places and they're so unhappy.
Mhm.
Saying, you
Mhm.
have to, when you're praying and asking God for that wife and that husband you want, do you really know what you're asking for? Because God said,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna
Because
show
it's a
you.
reflection.
Right. And then this is what we do.
Phew.
God give it to you. Because sometimes
Mhm.
God said, I'm gonna give it to you so you can see this is not really it. So I'm gonna give
Mhm.
you that job. I'm gonna give you that relationship, right? And so you're in it and you like, I don't really want this. But a
Mhm.
lot of us, this is where we stop, because this is what I asked when I want. I'm gonna sit here.
Mhm. Mhm.
And I'm gonna sit in this relationship and I'm gonna be
Yep.
unhappy, and I'm gonna sit at this job
Yep.
and I'm gonna piecemeal all the good things about it.
Mhm.
Going good,
Mhm.
well, I'm not fulfilled. I am not happy.
Right.
I know I desire to be somewhere else.
Right.
Right. And I said,
Mhm.
so, what I'm saying, for me, with the husband that I got, I already knew both of us could not be breadwinner. What I'm saying? So I know he was on the fast track. He got to where he wants to go. And I said, you take turns.
Yeah.
If I'm not willing to sacrifice being in the carpool line, I'm not. I'm not willing to sacrifice missing out, jumping out, and because even when I was working, I used to tell them people, hey, I'm gonna take a long lunch because I got to go to my son's school because they having a performance.
Right.
I wish
Right.
you would tell me
Right.
no, because I'll give you a resignation right now.
Right.
You
Right.
know what I'm saying? But some people like, I'm willing to miss out. And it's you have
Yeah.
to know what you want and you desire. So then you can kind of curate
Mm-hmm.
the life that you want. And you have to be okay with telling people what? No, and I
Yeah.
can't. And maybe not now. Again, the boundaries. And when
Right.
you're not in alignment with those things, you'll know because you are fighting, you are unhappy, you're like,
Mm-hmm.
this is too hard. This is
Right.
too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Relationships are hard, but not in the trauma that this is like I am trying to force this 9 size foot into a size 7 shoe. And not only is it hard, but it hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
For sure. For sure. For sure.
Yes. So next time you are brought to something, be like, hey, because they already know that you care for them, you love
Mm-hmm.
them. So you don't even have
Mm-hmm.
to preface that. Just say, hey,
Right.
I'm gonna just use drinking because we don't know what it is. I'm gonna just use drinking. You
Mm-hmm.
say you don't no longer want to drink anymore, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the friend group that you have, everyone drinks.
Mm-hmm.
If it is in a situation to where you may feel like you might want to drink hanging around them, you may not want to,
Mm-hmm.
you still love them,
Yeah.
but you're going to have to find you a different friend group.
Mm-hmm.
If you've had the conversation with them and saying, hey, I don't want to, y'all, I'm going to stop drinking. I'm not saying you have to stop drinking, but
Right.
for right now, can you just maybe not drink around me just to help
Right.
me in my journey? And if they say yes, and then the next outing y'all go to and they're drinking, then you already know.
Right. Right. Right.
This is your journey. You can't put it on
Mm-hmm.
somebody else. You asked nicely first time,
Right.
they
Right.
still showed up and drank, then you just know, okay, I just can't come to the next event because y'all gonna drink
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want to force my journey on y'all. And
Right.
it's fine. I still love y'all. We can haha kiki in the chat because that to
Mm-hmm.
me that's limiting. We can haha
Right.
kiki in the chat, but y'all ain't gonna see me no more.
Right. Right.
Because I've
And
elevated here, and not saying that your elevation is
right.
yeah, it's just I'm trying to go somewhere else that we're no longer on the same plane. And
Mm-hmm.
I have to acknowledge that. So I need to make the adjustment.
And the risk of losing that group in that way is worth the reward of achieving
You have
that
to know that.
goal.
You have to know
Yeah.
a group of friends who don't drink, who can they're coming.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, that's
Yep.
your mindset. I already
Yep.
know they coming. And so it's
Yep.
okay for me to open this hand up
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because we got to be able to have an open hand to receive
Mm-hmm.
and to let go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
But a
That's true.
lot of times people on this healing journey trying to hold on to old
Mm-hmm.
friends, family members, and still
Yep.
and that's the same thing. Look at MC Hammer, for example.
Mm-hmm.
His whole empire was destroyed because he was trying to hold on to the
Bring air.
neighborhood,
Yep.
to the people when he needed to go ahead and let go because there was
Listen. Listen. So I did want to celebrate the Winjar didn't want to cough on you.
thank you.
But anyway, I wanted to celebrate you just bringing that up because as soon as you said wind jar, I imagined this old glass mason jar on my shelf that I'm about to go grab when we wrap up. And I do think I want to kind of do a wall. It all ties together.
All of it.
A wall in my closet, a little space,
Oh, mhm.
and then take them down at the end of the quarter and put in my jar to reflect at the end of the year, maybe. Because I want to kind of like still have those reminders. Like January to December, it feels like a long time sometimes. And even though I have these wins and it's like right then, I think it's going to be valuable to see like all the things I've done in a year.
Yeah,
So,
yes.
or maybe
Okay, so
even
you
just put,
saying take it from the wall after reflecting and put them in the jar to keep them. So then at the end of the
yep.
year, do
Mm-hmm.
like a big like, oh
Yep.
my God, I forgot I did that.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
because
gotcha.
I do. It's crazy. Like I know that I'm a person that I'm like this, and what. So I've been working on my closet, the DIY bookshelf closet. I'm so proud of myself for doing it. I've spent a lot of time, and I Saturday I got to a really good spot with it. And there's a few things that I still need to do, um, that I'm waiting to come in. But when you said to pause and reflect, I told myself yesterday, I'm not working in the closet. I did good. I'm just going to relax. I'm going to eat, watch some TV today. Like it's okay to take a day to pause. So they like I said earlier in this, that was my confirmation that that was a good thing for me to do because I was 2 seconds away from, oh, let me go ahead and start the closet in the other room. And I said, no, this looks really good. I got to send you pictures of these.
Please.
And it, I will say all day yesterday, well, from Saturday until now, like every time I glance in my closet, I like feel myself swell up. I have this inner smile, and then sometimes I'm like, because I'm taking a moment to look at what I did. Like, you did this. This is something I've been talking about wanting to do for literally years. And I told myself, I'm going to take the time. The significance of that, yes, it does make me smile and feel happy, but there is research that organization helps you mentally. And I needed that. I spent over a year in a space where I did not feel organized, and it really did impact me. So just to look at it and know that I have a space for all these different things, I use so much less time to find what I need because it's organized. And I mean, it's just like, so there's
Ease.
like, it just makes me so proud. So yes, I wanted to say that. Thank you. Oh, and then something else I did today that I think I'm going to add to my win jar wall.
You will add to your win jar.
I apologize.
We're ending it before she says anything else. We're going to go ahead and end the
I was like, you know what? Let me apologize. I was wrong. It's okay. It was a small thing. But I did it without.
You.
Huh?
I said you got a patch in your big girl drawers. Look at you.
Yeah, I did with some fancy stitching too. But that's it. I don't have anything else. This has been good.
I think just this is the coach talk. This is not your friend talking.
Okay.
To add a little razzle that this is razzle dazzle for me. It's probably not razzle dazzle for you. But to add a little razzle dazzle to your win apology. I would say I apologize today when before ... I wouldn't because of. So then you can reflect on the growth of, why is this so big? You know what I'm saying? Why is this apology so big? Because before I would just buy something or cook something or not even acknowledge.
Right. That's what
I would say to myself, oh, I'm wrong, but I wouldn't say it out loud,
Right.
So for moments like that, where when you are reflecting later, you can be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's why this was so big. Because you just I apologize today, and you go like, what did I apologize for?
Right. But the funny thing is, you remember how you gave me the suggestion of finding proof instead of going back and forth? I found proof it was wrong. I was like, well, this is proof, but let me go ahead.
Good job.
Got proof that I was wrong, but it's all right.
So
Don't happen often.
Just for it may not happen often.
Oh, but
just for the viewers to know, when I gave a suggestion, like when you are speaking to someone, I kind of preference know-it-alls and don't want to be wrong people in two different buckets, because sometimes they blend, but sometimes you can talk to the person and be like, oh, they be like, oh, okay, you got me.
Right.
Whereas I feel like a know-it-all, they're gonna lie to the end regardless. It don't matter. But in some certain situations, you just have to be like,
right.
Google said, because sometimes it's just because it's coming from you and it's their perception of you. And so they can't get the information. But when you take you out of it and you say, Google say, then they be like, oh,
so my friend on your
phone. Google, they be like, oh, okay, yeah, I didn't know that. And it might be a little sting at first, because be like, damn, but if I would have said it, you all no.
Right.
It's not personal.
Right.
Because we can't control the lens that people have for us, because it also comes with their own experiences and things. So sometimes you got to remove yourself and just be like, Google said, Wikipedia said, IG, TikTok, or whatever said, just Sharon said. And so just because for me, as someone who communicates and want the message to be heard, I do. I have to remove myself, and so I also, not because of the people, but just so again I can be understood and not just heard. I lower my communication, and when I say lower my communication, how they say, give it to me so a fifth grader or a third grader can understand. I communicate with everybody like that because I'm not someone you're gonna be like, yes, you know, the aloysius of the da 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 da. I'm not doing all that because again, that's only for certain people.
Right.
I'm not trying to restrict healing and communication from anybody. So then I need to be able, just for me and what I do, I need to be able, when I speak, I need to be able, like for my son to understand what I'm saying. So then I get used to, you know how to read.
Right.
Here, don't say route. On here it says. Okay. So if y'all want to use that other trick too, you know, if you're dealing with someone who seems like they just don't want to hear because it's coming from me, or you know, I can't get through to them.
Right.
Now, if they be like, no, anybody put anything on Google, then you just leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
That part.
Leave it alone. Just leave it alone.
That part. Yes.
So do you have anything? I mean, I thought this was good. Thank you.
This was good.
What's my man named Justin? Yeah, Justin
Scott.
For our conversation today. Y'all look him up. I don't know if he's on IG. I'm a TikTok person, so if you want to venture over there, I know half of y'all millennials don't go to TikTok because you think it's dancing, but I'm not Moses. I'm not here to get y'all across nothing.
Is his name spelled like normal? Okay.
Nothing jazzy.
Okay.
Yeah, you see him with black eye with glasses. And honey, he be spitting. I mean, he be spitting. If you now, I'm gonna put the warning out there. More than likely, just from the feedback that I've been seeing with people stitching and stuff, he is eating people up, and not intentional, but like he's hitting some core, some core things, and so people like, why are you telling my business?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like he's just trying to get he's trying to help restructure the Black community, the mindset, especially like relationships and healing and all these things that plague us. He's also on the good team.
Right.
He's also on the good team. So
he sounds like he needs to be invited to combo party, even if it's virtual.
Girl, he would eat, honey. They would be ready to run up out of there.
And I also, what else would it would be dope.
It would be. I would be geeked up.
I'm just talking about here.
Oh, what you mean?
Because you know we want to.
Oh, well, yes. Oh, you should do like a private invite conversation party. Yeah, and then you can have you only can get one invite, 1+1.
You mean I invite everybody that I
like
invite?
say you didn't know. I mean, you do know me. Like you thought about this and you said, "Oh, let me invite Ralph." You send out the invite. Says, "Hey, you have
that."
You know, you exclusively been invited to a private conversation party. You are allowed 1+1, because then that also gets someone who, because most of the people I'm thinking you're going to invite, they at least been to one or So then they get exposed to a friend who, you know what I'm saying, and you know what I'm saying, then you know, and then we open it up to, you know, to everybody if you want to. Also, I don't know if I want to say that. 3. I'm gonna say 3. I have three slots open for coaching. I'm gonna put it out, but
yay!
3 slots open for coaching. Y'all know y'all need it. Don't play with me. Come get beat into a elevation. And also, Candace copied me today with the blue, so I just want to put that out there.
I did a little bit just because she got dressed before me.
Yes, I said copy.
Great minds. What is blue the color of, Ralph? Me either.
Ask my son that. That is not my lane.
that ain't your ministry today.
It's a cool color.
It is. We
No,
chilling.
I meant like cool tones.
Yeah.
Cool tone costume. I know
Oh,
green is money. Green is money. Red is love. Yellow's
mhm.
friendship. I don't know what blue is. I don't. Calm.
Orange. I
I don't
used to
know.
know what orange was.
Child, I have no idea.
But anyway,
I can go get him out of school right now in the house.
what you mean? Oh, ah.
He'd be ready
Right.
to.
My little wise friend.
I need. Oh, so I'm gonna share it. No, I can share it afterwards. I don't need to take up no more time. We're doing good.
Yeah.
No, it's just a funny tidbit with him, so I can tell
Oh,
you after. Yeah.
okay.
Okay. So
I
put
don't
that
have anything.
together. If you're on here and you get an invite to an exclusive conversation party,
I pick a date.
yes. For me, outside of that, I don't have anything else.
Please follow us if you have not already.
Please. Um, and if you don't have anything else, then as I always say, please keep it safe and sexy. Do not embarrass me. And we'll see y'all next time.
Bye.